Leon's about to get mad. I'm getting tired of this old mundane conversation that comes up every single football season. A quarterback gets hurt and everybody just gets all starry-eyed because, oh my God, it's the perfect time for us to talk about Colin Kaepernick, because apparently he's the only quarterback in existence that's not on the NFL football field. Nobody else. It's just Colin Kaepernick. And every single time somebody gets hurt or they get into some controversy where they got to be suspended, oh, call Colin Kaepernick. He's ready. He's waiting. He's just here for everybody. And every single time it has to be pointed out, Colin is a moron who statistically dropped after going to the Super Bowl with somebody else's team. But let's have a little bit of fun. Aaron Rodgers signed with the Jets. He could have signed with the Broncos and saved me from having to deal with a grown-ass man going 0-3 in the regular season right now and saying Broncos country, let's ride. But that's besides the point. He signs with the Jets and he gets injured. And for some reason, the bat signal went into the air and Colin Kaepernick's name was brought up yet again. And it got to a weird point where Colin Kaepernick is sending open letters to the Jets wanting to be signed. Joe, I hope this letter finds you in great spirits. Despite the less than ideal start to a big season, I'm wishing you, your staff, and the players a great game this weekend as you look to bounce back. I'm writing, of course, in response to the unfortunate loss of Aaron Rodgers. I know the aspirations this season were and still are to win a championship, and so that Hall of Fame-sized hole will need to be filled as best as possible to keep the team on a Super Bowl track. As of right now, Zach Wilson is charged with that task, and I wish him and the rest of the team the best moving forward. However, I know that there are currently depth issues at the position, and I've heard that the backup spot is likely to be filled by a veteran quarterback. As much as I would love the opportunity to fill that spot, I'm writing you in hopes that you can imagine a much more different approach involving me. I would be honored and extremely grateful for the opportunity to come in and lead the practice squad. I would do this with the sole mission of getting your defense ready each week. If I were able to fill this role for the team, I believe this allows for multiple things. One, it gives your defense the advantage of getting a truer read on the more mobile, athletic, versatile quarterbacks it will face in the weeks 4, 5, and 6, Mahomes, Wilson, and Hurts. I would consider it a privilege to be able to do this and would take on this responsibility with the dedication and passion as if it were a QB1 position. 2, this would also allow you guys as an organization to take a real look at where I am football-wise in game-like situations against an elite defense while also not putting any competitive pressure on Zach. I understand the importance of keeping him confident and focused as QB1, and I would only look to boost that confidence in any interactions that we may have if I was given this role within the team. In a perfect world for the Jets, Zach Wilson finds his stride and shows that he is able to lead the championship caliber team that you have put together to the Super Bowl. I believe a confident Zach Wilson has the tools to do this. However, in the event that this is not the case, I would love to offer you a risk-free contingency plan. I am sure of my ability to provide you with an elite QB option if, God forbid, QB1 goes down. However, I know that there may be naturally some uncertainness from you and possibly from others about my playing abilities. This plan, I believe, allows me to be a great service to the team as a practice squad QB while also giving you a low commitment chance to access my capabilities to help in any other capacity you may see fit. Worst case scenario, you see what I have to offer and you're not impressed. Best case scenario, you realize you have a real weapon at your disposal in the event ever you need to use it. In either of these scenarios, I would be committed to getting your defense ready week in and week out all season long, and I would wear that responsibility like a badge of honor. As a final point, I would like to add this. Unlike many of the veteran QBs that have been named in the media, I've never retired or stopped training. My training schedule has remained the same for 6 years, Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. training on the field and in the weight room. I've kept this training schedule without failure for the past 6 years in hopes that opportunity will present itself. I say this to give you some perspective on where I am physically. I have also attached a list of my references within the league that will vouch for my character, work ethic, and ability. Thank you so much for your time, Colin Kaepernick. And you know, if I was a betting man, I'd be like, I'm not signing this piece of shit. I hope you all would choose to remember this dude was third string before he took a knee for anybody and for any political movement. He was garbage. He was ass. He was booty. He was meat water. He was cilantro salami meat. He was bologna. He was tofu. He was garbage. And the fact that this man made a whole stink and, need I remind you, spent time gaslighting a bunch of people via a contract dispute, a sign on the dotted line excuse where this guy went to one practice field instead of the designated practice field.
Let me start by saying I appreciate y'all coming out. That means a lot to me. Our biggest thing with everything today was making sure we had transparency of what went on. We weren't getting that elsewhere, so we came out here. It's important that y'all are here. Y'all been attacked for the last 3 years. Y'all continue to be attacked. We appreciate what y'all do. We appreciate you being here today. We appreciate the work you do for the people and telling the truth. That's what we want in everything. I've been ready for 3 years. I've been denied for 3 years. We all know why I came out here, showed it today in front of everybody. We have nothing to hide. So we're waiting for the 32 owners, the 32 teams, Roger Goodell, all of them to stop running. Stop running from the truth. Stop running from the people. We're out here. We're ready to play. We're ready to go anywhere. My agent, Jeff Nally, is ready to talk to any team. I'll interview with any team at any time. I've been ready. I'm staying ready. And I'll continue to be ready. And to all the people that came out here today to support, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. To the people that aren't here, I'm thinking of you. I appreciate you supporting from where you are. We'll continue to give you updates as we hear. We'll be waiting to hear from Roger Goodell, the NFL, the 32 teams. We'll let you know if we hear from them. Ball's in their court.
He also made a documentary about himself where he sat there and compared the draft lottery or the draft process to the slave trade.
Before they put you on the field, teams poke, prod, and examine you, searching for any defect that might affect your performance. No boundary respected. No dignity left intact.
See, we have to stop all of this noise and we have to address it with the realness that it deserves. Colin Kaepernick, I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to see him back in the National Football League. I believe he deserves an opportunity to be back in the National Football League. I believe that he was blackballed. I believe he was blackballed unfairly. I think it's a damn disgrace and a crime that he has been kept out of the National Football League this long. But where I've taken heat, and I will always take heat for this, because I will never, ever, ever change my position on this, is that in the end, not 2016 to 2019, but in the end, as of November 2019, when he had that tryout that the NFL organized, and he elected not to show up, and instead had that at a high school, an hour and 20 minutes away, Swagoo, Mad Dog Russo, Molly, I said on First Take the next morning, it is over. Now let me break this down to y'all. Swagoo, Mad Dog Russo, in November of 2019, when Colin Kaepernick refused to show up, now mind you, let's keep this in mind. Most people don't sue their former employer and then turn around and try to go back to work for them. That doesn't happen. But Roger Goodell, NFL league officers, in concert with Jay-Z and others, essentially assembled this, organized it because the individual teams were scared that if they didn't pick him, they would get accused of racism or whatever it was that they were fearful of. Those were the things that I heard. So they didn't want to take on the individual responsibility as a team, which was why the league, for the first time in league history, organized the workout. All right? Tried to get him to sign a waiver. He said it's not the typical waiver a player signs. They said, of course it isn't, because we've never, usually a team does that. but this is the first time in league history the league is organizing it. And we have to protect ourselves from you because you just sued us, okay? But having said all of that, we go to 2019. Here's what I have a list for you, Swagoo. These are backup quarterbacks that played at one point or another the same season that Colin Kaepernick was trying to come back in November 2019 when he didn't show up for the workout. Brandon Allen, 3 starts for Denver. Jeff Driscoll, 3 starts for Detroit. Matt Moore, 2 starts for Kansas City. Chase Daniels, 1 start for Chicago. Brian Hoyer, 1 start for Indianapolis. Sean Mannion, 1 start for Minnesota. Colt McCoy, 1 start for Washington. A.J. McCarron, 1 start for Houston. Colin Kaepernick, a guy that took the team to the Super Bowl in the San Francisco 49ers. You trying to tell me Colin Kaepernick couldn't play? Of course he could play. Of course he could have been on a roster. All he had to do was show up. And I personally was told at that time, if the brother showed up to the workout because of public pressure being brought down upon the league and the fact that we were all watching, he would have had to throw the football in the stands to not have a job in 2 weeks. That was a quote that I received, doggy. He would have had to throw it into the stands to not receive a job. But he didn't show up. And now we fast forward to 2023. January 1st will mark 7 years that Colin Kaepernick hasn't been in the league. And in the year 2023, on opening day, just a few weeks ago, the NFL started 14 black quarterbacks. 7 of the top 11 paid quarterbacks in the National Football League are black. Those owners are going to use that as an excuse to point to, ain't about racism. We don't want to hear that. It's about the attention that you brought to our brand that we believe compromises the bottom line. And no matter how wrong they may be, the public evidently sides with them because the ratings have gone where, fellas? The money has gone where, fellas? Their coffers, has it dwindled? Has it diminished? Has it shrunk? No. Just like I told y'all in November of 2019, I said when he didn't show up for that workout, it's over. And that's where we are today. I hope I'm wrong.
I don't know how many African Americans or half African Americans or fully African people who are victims of ancestral slavery and white supremacy can really agree with the guy who made that much noise still wanting to go back to said thing he called slavery. It makes no sense, and I am tired of every single season this dude looking like the bitch who wants to get back into the group because he realized nobody in the group gave a shit if he was there or if he wasn't. Colin, for the love of God, stop it. You worded this the worst gaslight possible, and the fact that you got people subtly trying to bring up how it's something to do with race is even bigger of an embarrassment because you essentially trying to take somebody else's spot. Zach Wilson is the backup QB who has to fill in the shoes of Aaron Rodgers. Zach Wilson, garbage. He ain't really gonna cut it. So if he's not gonna cut it, sign somebody else who can. You wanting to say, hey, you know, you could add me to the practice squad. You know, I could get your defense ready. You know what I'm saying? I could get you guys in tip-top shape because I'm on the same level as Russell Wilson, which is true. You fucking garbage just like Russell Wilson. Matter of fact, hold that thought. You know what? I got a better chance in the NFL. Screw it. I got a better chance flinging a football. Because you know what? At least I'm short and them all big burly tight ends and left tackles can't get to me. So why not give me a shot? Since we just gonna throw it all willy-nilly at anybody. Hell, he could even be the water boy. And it just so happens that if he was the water boy, maybe, just maybe, I could fill in some shoes around there. Colin, Jesus Christ, you sound desperate. You sound like you really want to get back on that field. And you know, I would truly believe you sincerely. All you got to do, join the Canadian Football League. Go to the XFL. Hell, play arena football. All of these are not the NFL, which you compared to slavery. Why do you want to go back to being a slave, Colin? Are you bored? Do you have a kink? Is the money running dry? If so, you can go to these other alternatives that exist, but they're not as big as Big Daddy Goodell and that old slave boat. So, to everybody who chooses to forget Colin is ass and he also called the NFL what he called it, slavery. Why are you so keen on inviting this guy back or wanting to see him, knowing if he comes back, he betrays everything he wanted to fight for and sending out a message, which was the NFL has a problem, the world has a problem, I'm going to protest, I'm going to sacrifice myself for this protest, even though I'm a garbage ass quarterback who's sitting on the bench any fucking way.